Welcome back to Beyond the Labels, a space where we tell the truth about healing without performing for approval. I'm Alexis, and I guide high achievers, especially those who've had to be the strong ones, back into emotional safety, self-trust, and real alignment. And today, I'm recording, like every day, from my Healing Homestead, a space I'm building for deep restoration, nervous system safety, and the kind of healing you can actually feel in your body. It's also where I host healing retreats for women who are ready to step out of survival mode and come home to themselves. So, if you're watching this with me in the background, gardening, building, resting, living, just know this is intentional. Healing isn't only something we talk about, it's something we practice. And today we're talking about inner child healing, what it really is, how it shows up in adult life, and how to start reclaiming your authentic self without shaming who you had to become. So, a lot of adults are walking around with a very young part of them still running the show. Not because they're immature, not because they're broken, because that younger part learned what to do to survive. So if you're successful, capable, respected, but you still get triggered by feeling ignored, criticized, rejected, or misunderstood, that's not you being too sensitive. That's your inner child asking to be met finally with safety. What your inner child really means. You know, we hear this term being flung around a lot these days. So when I say it, when I say inner child, I'm not talking about something fluffy. I'm talking about the part of you that formed early beliefs like, I'm only loved when I perform. My needs are a problem. If I'm honest, I'll be punished. I have to stay small to stay safe. Oh, just threw up in my mouth a little bit. I have to take care of everyone. Inner child healing is the process of updating those beliefs through the body, through the nervous system, through consistent self-trust. It's learning how to become the safe adult you need. So here's our homestead metaphor. Got to tend the tender. So when something is young, a seedling, a baby animal, new growth, you don't shame it for being fragile. You protect it. You create the right conditions, whether it's warmth or water, consistency, gentle structure, time. Inner child healing is the same. You're not fixing yourself because you're not broken. You're not broken. You're about as broken as an iPhone that needs a charge, right? You're not broken. You're tending what was tender in a world that didn't always know how to be gentle. So your triggers are trail markers. We have this thing now. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but it's not acceptable. I'm going to tell you why it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable because I have a problem with it. It's not acceptable because it's a non-functioning way to exist. And I'm going to tell you what it is right now. It's this new trend that seems to have been created where it's trapped in people's minds that what they're going to go out and do is change everybody else around them to suit their needs. Right? Like, I have these kinds of issues,
So all of you need to change so that I feel better. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's 100% never going to work, which is one of the reasons why you see it not only not working, but you see the degradation of relationships overall. All kinds of relationships. I'm not talking sex, I'm talking relationships, period. And people's crazy inability to communicate just their simplest thoughts and receive other people's simplest thoughts, right? Without it being like, your thoughts are an attack on my existence. What? No. Let me tell you something. The only things that are an attack on your existence are the things that you choose to give power to. So stop playing games, right? We are not running from triggers here. If you like to run from your triggers, if you like to tell people I'm triggered, so you need to stop doing this, you need to go ahead and you need to leave this podcast right now because this is not the place for you. Okay? Triggers are trail markers. They point to the places in you that still need safety. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? You start asking, what part of me is scared right now? Or better yet, for these new generations, what's wrong with you? Well, you need to fix you so that I feel better about me. Good luck with that. And when you ask the question with compassion, you stop abandoning yourself in the moment. You need yourself the most, right? There's nothing wrong with you. You're a person just like everyone else who has experienced trauma. How do I know that? I don't know, because you're here on earth. Like, I don't even, everyone here, everyone on this planet has experienced some type of trauma. Birth is a trauma. Hello. Birth is a trauma for everyone involved, right? And then we just rack on traumas. First time you get smacked, trauma. First time you get yelled at, trauma. First time you get told no, trauma. Trauma. We all have it. If we let trauma dictate everything about how we show up and try to shape the world around our trauma, then we're just going to stay in our trauma. Now, if that's what you like, you also should probably leave this podcast, because it's for people who want to be liberated from the things that don't serve them. So let's talk a little bit about that liberation and 3 ways the inner child shows up in an adult life, and then how we can work to begin counterbalancing it. So I'll name a few ways clearly that it shows up most often. Overachieving to earn love. You don't just want to do well, right? You feel like you have to like rest feels guilty, right? Mistakes feel dangerous. Praise feels like oxygen. That's often a younger part of you, still trying to secure safety through performance, right? Still leading with the idea that other people make you who you are, that you need external validation in some way, shape, or form in order to exist as yourself and to have accomplished the things that you have accomplished. You need to be pat on the back some way for it. Nobody has ever patted me on the back for traveling to 75 countries and studying with all these, learning all of this stuff. No one's ever patted me on the back for that. It's not about external validation. It's not about somebody saying, oh, yes, you've traveled so much and learned so much. I don't care. Yeah, okay. So you're observant. That's great. But I didn't do it for the other people. I did it for me. I mean, ultimately, I did it for humanity. Love you, humanity. But I did it for me because anyone that's a healer will tell you that they become a healer because they got to heal. Like, please don't ever come here and think that anything that you're hearing, seeing, that any of it has been easy. It's all been just as harsh as what you're all going through that's bringing you to this podcast to listen in the first place. So I digress. Number two, this is a way that the inner child shows up in adult life, people pleasing to avoid rejection. This is huge, huge. You say yes when you mean no. You soften your truth. You over explain. You manage the room. Right? That's what we were talking about earlier. Oh, I'm going to change everything around me, make everybody else change so that I feel some kind of way about myself. That's not being nice. That's a child part trying to prevent disconnection, right? You're not super sweet and super kind. you're allowing people to bulldoze and push you over because you feel inadequate and insecure, because you feel like you will not receive that love and that validation if you are not complacent or complicit with other people's shenanigans or whatever they want from you. So that's unacceptable. Number three, emotional, unacceptable, not as a judgment, unacceptable because it's non-functional, right? We cannot function and sustain that for long term without feeling like trash and without feeling like no one sees me, no one hears me. Okay, well, you have to speak your mind to be seen and to be heard. And if you're just placating everyone, then of course you're not going to feel seen and heard, because you're kind of showing up as a disingenuous version of yourself and telling lies to suit other people's needs. Now we have to be real. We have to be real about what we're doing if we want to change the behavior. So the where to start with practice is a 4-step inner child protocol. So here's a simple practice that you can repeat. Of course, we're going to walk through it together. So step 1, you want to notice the moment that you shift. The moment you feel tight, small, reactive, ashamed, desperate to be understood, afraid of being too much. That's the doorway, right? That's the doorway. Step 2, name the age or the feeling. How old do I feel right now? If you don't know the age, name the feeling. I feel unwanted. I feel in trouble. I feel alone. Okay, then now step 3, after you name that, is to offer the sentence that you need for yourself or that you needed at the time, if you could name that age. Right? It's never too late for us to give ourselves what we need. It doesn't matter how long it's been that we've needed it. It's never too late to give ourselves what we need, just like it's really never too late to apologize. I don't care if you apologize 20 years later. The apology is so much. And for a lot of people, the apology is more for them to release their stuff than it actually is for the person who experienced the thing, But it's never too late for apologies. It's never too late to mend bridges. It's never too late to forgive the self. And it's never too late to provide the self with what it needs. So the sentence that you might need is, you're not in trouble. You're safe with me. You don't have to earn love. I believe you. I believe in you. I'm staying, right? Keep it simple. Keep it true. Don't overthink it. No need to. So then the last step is to give your body one signal of safety. We've talked about long exhales. We've talked about hands on the chest, literally hand on the chest, literally signals to the body you are in a safe place. That is why you see it everywhere. That is why animals do it. Babies do it. You feed a baby, they put their hand on your heart or up by your mouth. You snuggle cats. They do the same thing. They put their little paw on your heart. When you're trying to calm your kids, you put your hand on their heart. You say, breathe, it's okay. It is automatically ingrained in us like lemon water all across the world to do certain things. And it's ingrained in us because it is a natural biological response. Everybody knows it, just like they know blinking and breathing, right? Feet on the ground, always no shoes whenever you can. Always that is the goal. We are already separated by all of this concrete and lies, right? So just take your shoes off when you can and get them in soil and or grass or leaves. I don't even care if you just stand in a pile of leaves. You want to you trying to get nature on the toes. That's the goal. A sip of water. Water helps us process emotion. So drinking water is always going to benefit the body. The age of Aquarius, right? Bringing in the love and the flow and the light and the positive energy. And that's exactly what water does. That's why Aquarius holds containers of water. So step outside for 60 seconds. Inner child healing is not just insight. It's repatterning. You cannot just say, I know this happened and it fucked me up. You have to go back there and you have to have a conversation about how you're not going to let it fuck you up anymore, right? That's what this is about. It's about going back and repatterning. And we repattern in a variety of ways. Every time we feel that come up and we apply the new language, like what we suggested above in step 3, by combating that narrative with something positive. You're not in trouble. You're in a safe place. I believe you. I'm staying. Everything's okay. As soon as you feel that feeling and you combat it with that more positive, simple sentence, whichever one you're choosing at the time, that is repatterning. When you do that every time, the negative narrative stops showing up in the first place because it stops existing because you've repatterned it, right? Your mind is 100% under someone else's control until it's under your control. And if that someone else is your shadow side, you've got to check it. If that someone else is your 4-year-old self, you've got to check it. If that someone else is the government, if it's your parents telling you what you ought to do for your living, like, sorry, you had your choices. You made your choices. I choose my own choices. I make my own mistakes and I grow from them. And that's something that you've got to handle. That's your monkey in your circus, not mine, right? But we have all of these things in our life that try to impress upon us these limitations. And when we start combating the limitations with limitless ideas, comfort, compassion, love, self-respect, then we start to change that narrative through repatterning. So try this with me. We're going to inhale slowly. Then we're going to exhale for longer than we inhaled. Now place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly, if that feels safe. And you're going to say, I'm listening. You don't have to perform for me. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. I'm the safe place now. Now ask yourself, what do you need from me today? Rest, play, a boundary, a truth, a hug, a slower pace, whatever it is. Then honor one piece of that to begin building trust. Who are we building trust with? You, yourself, and you. That's who. If you don't trust yourself, you can't trust anyone or anything. If you can't trust yourself, You can't make some of the most basic decisions in your life and feel like they're your own and they resonate with you. And because we have to make basic decisions every moment of every day, if we don't trust ourselves and we're just making those decisions all the time, we're actually working against our own interest by fortifying a version of ourselves that isn't true, isn't authentic, isn't genuine, and ends up feeling purposeless because they're being puppeteered. So, once you begin to reclaim your authentic self, here are some things that you're likely to see. Saying what you actually want without apologizing, letting yourself be seen without being impressive. This is how these are the things that you start to see to know, oh, what I'm doing is working, right? Choosing relationships where you don't have to audition, resting without waiting to deserve it, letting joy be safe again, grieving what you didn't get without making yourself wrong for needing it. You're not becoming someone new. You're returning to who you were before you had your armor up. That is the truest version of you. So, if this touched something tender inside of you, if you find yourself feeling some kind of way, if you felt a somatic response, I want you to know you're not behind. You're becoming safe. If you're ready to go deeper, start with my alignment assessment. From there, you'll receive your personalized healing blueprint. So you're not guessing what you need or trying to heal with generic advice. And if you want to talk through anything with me, there are always 15-minute consultations available. We'll look at what your inner child has been carrying, what your nervous system needs in order to soften, and what support would actually feel aligned for you. Until next time, may you become the kind of love you always deserved.